All right.
Well, all right. I think we are live now. So, welcome everybody. This is Stephen Yisel on Yissilmissil Productions channel. I'm here today with Tom Althouse, and we are here for part 22 of our interview series. And yeah, so yes, we are live. I just got the confirmation on the side here. So yeah, great to have you here, Tom. Today is September 7th, 2024. We are almost at the end of this year, and we still are dealing with these people that are trying to take you down, to stop you from accomplishing your goals. We have a lot of ego that gets in the way of a lot of things. A lot of people let ego get in the way of things. And it's just unfortunate. Tom was showing me something just earlier with just collaborations of others and just how things just don't mesh after a certain period of time. But yeah, it's just I like I said before we got on there, it's unfortunate because I mean, really we do need to work together on a lot of this stuff, if not everything, but I mean, we need to work together as a team on a lot of this. And yeah, just when I see what you show me, Tom, of these people, like they think like they're calling your bluff, so to speak. It I really I sense the bruised ego on their end. So like there's something going on these other people's lives, and they're projecting their problems onto you. Like there's no other reason why they take the time to do this stuff unless they cared about it. So they take something they care from in their life and they throw it on the internet and say, "Ah, time. Well, what's this Tom guy?" So I don't know. That's
Well,
where we're at. We're dealing with a lot of ego lately, so we're just trying to mesh through it. And yeah, it's tough. It's ongoing. It's actually it's been around. It's always been around.
mm,
It just pops up here and there, and yeah, it could fool and take advantage of anybody. So I guess that's also very important to remember.
yeah.
So
Well, I think a lot of there's a whole feeling in society, Hollywood, agencies, cabal, have all instilled this idea of, be the one that's successful. And so people are competing with each other. And for us to be successful at this moment, that's what people are saying. All these responses are happening constantly now. Um, for them to throw in at this point, this individual at this point in such a just weird way is it shows an unbalanced character. It also shows that again, that desire to, not have anybody better than them or something. And I guess that's the way their thinking is.
yeah,
And
that's why I say it's the ego. It's just people not wanting to
yeah,
not wanting to admit flaws in their own humanity,
well, one of
I
the
guess.
characteristics that seem to go with it is they like in his profile picture, he had the tinfoil hats on, and this other guy that was part of a group that was trashing had the tinfoil hats on, as if it's like some stupid old joke where they think it's clever. It's like it's what Hollywood does. They dig up the same rehash, and it's like putting a tinfoil hat on for your profile picture. It's redundant. It's not clever. And these people think it's cool. It shows how disconnected they are from reality and what actually works and why they are not at the top. So it's like, if you don't have creative thinking, get out of the kitchen, and if you're going to tag people and slam them when they're successful, at that moment when they're celebrating with others, you don't belong at the party. You just look like an idiot, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I mean that's something that we've both witnessed in different occasions with multiple people. and we couldn't identify it before, but we're starting to be able to identify it now. But the narcissism that's in our culture and how that also takes over individuals' personalities with I mean, just look up what a narcissist is, the definition. Like you'll go down this really nice educational path of understanding I guess societal behavior and established hierarchy and all this BS because we really are we're dealing with people here for the most part and whatever else. I mean, I don't want to get into extra stuff today, but I'm just saying we're dealing with people here that a lot of them are broken, but we're all riding through this. We're all still here. That's the whole thing. We're still here. There's people that we've lost. That I mean, I think about every day, just like Tom does. You know, I've lost people to them taking their own lives. And that's more than one. And I could beat myself up all day about it, but I guess I'm getting off track here. But really, like I said, we're dealing with people, and at the end of the day, when they're attacking Tom or myself or just others in general, if you just see online attacks just going at people, it's usually coming from the other end. So like I said, they're projecting all of this stuff on onto Tom with saying, like, hey, well, what's going on here with this and this and this? Like this person that came after Tom was like not even asking for specifics, right? Like it was just general like writing you off, so to speak, right?
Well, there a lot of people being tagged right now. A lot of people are being trashed right now in this group and movement. So it's like it's a last ditch effort. I don't feel sorry for the people that do it because this is their choice. And when they make that dumb choice, when we're celebrating with top people and it's like they come in like that, it's like they're man babies. And it's like, they need to just go back and suck their binky. It's like they're really not worth my time. So we're celebrating and you just show them the door and on you go. So whether
Yeah.
I really don't care what they feel. They've done the most dumbest thing possible. And that means they need to go get some therapy. But anyway, yeah, let's go on.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess to change topic briefly here. It's still I'm still getting chemtrail sprays in this area of Cook County, Illinois. Like I live in Niles over here. So this
Mhm.
is like right on the border of Chicago. So I'm living right they're literally my neighbor. And I've noticed like every major city has these chemtrails. And like I mentioned before, when I went down to visit Tom in April, there was a lot of different playing activity up there, but the majority of it was chemtrailing,
Right.
and that was like every day for the most part.
And then the low spray. A lot of people don't know about the low spraying where they just go buzzing your roof and spraying right on top of your house.
Yeah,
And
and that was, I mean, even though Tom had shown me video footage of that prior to me visiting, like witnessing it firsthand was something else.
that sound is so jarring. It's like unbelievable that the jet engines over your home. It sounds like, the Pearl Harbor films where they're doing the dive bombers, over Honolulu. And it's like actually they're flying lower than dive bombers did. It's like really incredible. Where I thought they would hit the roof at sometimes.
So,
And
like, they're still using these older planes too, which surprises me because
hyper,
it's that older propeller type of plane,
yeah,
right?
that makes that very distinct, loud, roaring sound like World War II. It sounds like a World War II fighter. And the agencies use these Piper Cubs or something. They still do. It's like, I don't know if it's nostalgia on the part of the agencies or what, or they just have a certain budget or they have some agreement with a Cub company, but I don't know. They just,
A lot of good questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
or they want identity. They want people to realize this is them. And what's interesting is they actually mark their wing tips often with red tips, which is like the planes from Pearl Harbor. So I don't understand, I think they overthink it, the agencies do, and they they try to be clever and cool, like they did with the Matrix film when they ripped off the stuff and put the stuff in.
Hmm.
I think these guys are just lacking security and self-worth, a feeling of self-worth. And so they overdo what they present to their targets. And it's like they don't realize a lot of us targets are just going, man, you guys are sure messed up. Feel bad for you guys. So, but we actually have insiders that are helping us now and relaying what goes on in there. And also those that are still operating this their job are sending messages through the phone. And so it's like really interesting that, they know we're listening in, or that we know they know that we know they're listening in. So we have conversations with them and they start responding. So it's really fun because it's going to be an amazing film later, which Hollywood says the real life film is going to be better than Matrix. Yeah, this is going to be really cool when people see exactly, what's been going on, where we're smart enough to figure it out. So we start conversing with those that their job is to listen in on our devices. And then they start responding on our devices. It's just, wow. It's interesting too, because first what they do is they just start messing with your, like if you're doing a phone game or something, they'll move the pieces around. And then they'll type things, little things on your screen or to the person you're listening to. Then they'll actually talk on your phone to you while you're in a conversation with somebody else. And I'll be like, is somebody in the room? No, somebody.
And see, I'm wondering if a VPN would protect you from that, but
They own
it's
this.
like
They
if
own,
they want to get around it, they probably will.
if
Because,
AT&T is operated by Warner Bros., you're not going to, they own it. That's like saying, I don't mean to knock it down, but um, they own the devices. Nothing's going to stop it. They're the ones that you call to correct and remedy to things. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I have talked with Tom about this before. For those listening, and I've tried to get Tom to open, I guess, to open up to the idea of VPNs, but he makes a solid point about these people. I mean,
Yeah.
these people are so high up. If they want to get around this stuff, they can.
Don't get it wrong.
But
Everything.
it's not a defeatist type of approach to any of this. It's just kind of like it's a matter of fact type of thing in a way.
They can go right on my phone and talk to me on my phone. They can access it while it's off. Like how you can tell for people out there is if you have your phone shut off at night and you pick it up in the morning and it's burning hot, that means it's been accessed. And if your charge doesn't go at all, it runs out right away, then it's been accessed. They tell you this stuff. And so recently my charge has been lasting 2 days, which shows that they pulled back for the first time in a long time. And see, that's what's interesting is those on the inside that are monitoring and stuff like that, when you're successful in your endeavors and everything breaks in the clear, as is happening now, they back off. And that's when the ones that are the minions, we call them, the fail guys, the D players, they hit the hardest because they're afraid of losing their positions and their power. They love having power over others. So they're the ones that hit harder when you're successful, which is absolutely idiotic. That's why I don't feel sorry for them. It's just plain dumb. But those that are actually on the inside that are higher up, they know when you're successful and they know when it's time to renegotiate. So yeah. But that's what's funny about those under them. They don't realize that they're not that valuable to the cabal and to the agencies. They're not that valuable. They're just tools until they're not needed anymore. And that's probably why the desperation kicks in for this guy named Patrick. They're kicking the desperation in because they're no longer needed. They failed. And for them, they need a power feed. They need to feel like they still have power over someone. And I think what they do in their mind is they feel like, oh, we're going to look less because we've publicly put this person down or that person down or that person down. Some people make a career out of putting all kinds of people down. And it's like suddenly it makes them look like they're not as powerful to the public and they can't handle that. It's a self-destruct. They'll
Yeah,
curl up, all fade away. Yeah. And when it wasn't based on talent, it's based on them looking for a shortcut to fame. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to the Wachowskis realizing the game's up and they're revealed for who they really are. They had their run like Goebbels during World War II, but it's like, and Goering, but The time is coming up now. It's coming up. And with all they stuck in the Matrix, like all those things they stuck in, it's going to come back and bite them now. Because finally the public will go, wow, yeah, I get it now. So yeah, it was so blatant. So they did us a great service in the end, but many have suffered and many have passed away in the process. And they've muddled important messages that needed to be brought forward that could have brought peace in our time. So again, they don't deserve any sympathy from me.
No, and I wouldn't expect you to give them any.
Zero. Yeah.
They've made choices of many very bad choices.
Do I enjoy watching them fall? No, it's like watching an ant trip on itself and get crushed by a rock. It's not nothing I want to see. Just want them gone, you know, back in their hole, back to their comic books. But go ahead.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm checking the live feed here right now, just checking if there's anybody commenting. So that's why I'm looking around, clicking on stuff here.
Look around. So, but yeah. Anyway, this is an amazing time because it's like suddenly it's busting open. And what Rosanne has done is open the door for others to come. And that's what she was,
Oh
talking.
yeah,
And so she's making it happen. That's why these reactions are coming. We'll see more low-level players lose it online with posts and stuff like that. But I think they realize after they do it how ridiculous they look. I think they have that enough brain cells to determine that. Because it's like if you got like 190 and 200 people responding on your site, that's all congratulations and excitement. You're sharing that excitement with them, and this guy comes in and tries to crash that with it's just absurd nonsense when it's already been proven. It's like, it really does show that desperation. So, and then you
yeah,
just kind of scoot them out of the party and continue partying. You know, I don't know why some people feel like that's going to get them. Yes, I do. I just got the answer. They're catering to their pandering to their what they believe is their followers. So they think they'll get cheered by people they associate with and put their tinfoil hats on with. That's what it really is they're trying to get their own little group to think, yeah, way to go, buddy. You had your moment. It's like when the rest of us like, what an idiot.
yeah.
So
This channel has like changed its content multiple times because I use this as a landing pad for a lot of my creative content. So when I started off, I was doing music video related like narratives. Then I moved on to doing weddings for a while.
yeah,
Then I did all of these public comment videos from board meetings, from village board meetings. And then I started doing the interview series with you. So I'm doing a little bit of everything here.
right.
But like my channel followers, I mean, if you've been here since the beginning, thank you. But
That's
like
very nice.
I don't expect everyone to still be here from 106 because that's 18 years ago. Maybe three people tops. Uh, and they all went to high school with me. So I mean, it's probably more than that because I do have a lot more people that I still talk to from those days.
Yeah, well, you certainly have been dedicated and stayed the course, and that's something I always admire in people. And it's like one of the
Thank you,
comments
Tom.
that was done on the page celebrating this release coming up Thursday, which really is going to turn the corner, like Roseanne said. Um, was saying that, well, Tom's been on, they were having a discussion on my page, and the one guy was like, it's one host was saying Tom's been on every, but all kinds of platforms, the big and the small. And it was interesting. It hit me a little bit. It was like, yeah, there isn't really a differentiation for me, between a big platform and a small platform. It's really who has the heart to get the word out and try to make a difference. And it's almost like you got groups of people on a field, and you're going to go talk to each group of people. You're not going to go just look for the largest one and go talk to them only and ignore the other groups that are out there. You're going to meet all the groups if you actually do have the heart. So that's the vision I get, is the field of different groups on the field. But you're not going to make a judgment on how large the group is. But I
No,
mean, I understand the comment, and I guess it was a compliment in a way, but that, you're open to all different groups. But it's like, that's how we bring humanity together, and you created this, there's like gems in each group. There's people that are just there ready to ignite and make a decision in their lives to head a certain way and to carry through carrying a torch. And it's like, it's great to see that, it's great to see that. When I was teaching Montessori, Shakespeare to a Montessori class, it was eighth graders. And that's a great time to teach Shakespeare because it's like all about layered thinking and feelings, and they're feeling those things going through adolescence. And I had so much feedback from this one class um, where we had done A Midsummer Dream. And all these people were contacting me, these kids that were growing up, and they said they were on missions to try to make a difference in the world. They were talking to people thinking about suicide, and they told me what they had gone through and struggled at the time of the class. And I was like, wow, all these went out from that class and are making a difference in the world. It indicates that if you are making a difference and you really show that it's about compassion and empathy, and you do care and invest in these beautiful souls that you're working with, they'll probably go out and do the same thing. I think humanity is not dark like Warner Brothers says. We're made to be great, to care and to help and to lift. Humanity is made to evolve into a endearing, beautiful species that will one day, like I said, can't imagine losing any member and will value all life. That's where we're headed. And Warner Brothers and others know that. So that means they might lose their power if that idea catches on. But at the same time, in the industry, they're saying, show us one good man, prove us wrong. Show us one good man or one good woman that doesn't have a price. And that's what we're doing. We're showing them that. And one of the tests that we go through is how we respond to those that really are desperate to have attention, desperate to be famous. That's a dead end track. And if you are focused on wanting to be famous, your creativity is going to be nil because your mind's on that. You can't create if your mind's on wanting to be famous. You can create if your mind's on, I want to do something to make a difference, and I want to do something as a service to humanity.
It's
And
kind of like a parable of focusing on the end result instead of working on the product.
exactly. If you find yourself in your mind going like, running through this awards ceremony before you even written a page, that page isn't going to write itself. It's not going to be good because your mind is going to be firing on that thought train.
I think there was some like funny thing inserted in some movie in the 80s with Billy Crystal. I think it was Throw Mama from the Train or something. It opens with him typing on a typewriter and he can't get past that first sentence. It's
Mm-mm.
just like the he's like frozen. And it's supposed to be funny and everything, but
Well, take this.
I don't know.
Yeah, this analogy, I can offer this. I was a first responder for a while, on accidents and things like that. It was my job, it was my requirement, and I chose to be because I wanted to help. And there's so many moving moments. But the thing is, when you are responding to an emergency, say, in my mind as a writer, the needs of humanity to come get rid of this stupid success train thought process where we turn on each other, or it's all about power. It's not, it's about compassion. When you are attending to someone, say a child in an accident scene, you are focused on the task and you're doing it, and you're getting it done and you're there 100%. That's like a writer who's doing a service to humanity. They're in focused 100% and they're just rolling it through and doing it right. If I'm there thinking about maybe cameras will take a picture of me as I help this child, maybe I'll be famous if I help this child, maybe they'll write a news article about me if I help this child, then your mind's not on the task. You're not connected with what needs to be done to make that difference. You don't
I,
belong.
I want to make a distinction here that there are writers like Tom who are focused on the power of the message of the story and the weight of the characters and everything that entails with the story structure and all of that. You have that on one hand, and on the other hand, you have the rest of Hollywood, the majority of Hollywood, who are literally just saying things like the hospital scene. We need to get all of that stuff like budgeted. Like those are main priorities in like a $300-400 million budget movie. You're throwing almost 100 mil to all of these special effects and everything, and plus you got thousands and thousands of cast and crew. Like you put money into all. Like why do you have so many people on these movies?
Mm.
It's almost like a money laundering scheme to me. Like you see these, it's just like a just
Well,
like
one of the amazing
a scroll.
that Matrix was shot as they made it up as they went along. You have all these people, and you look at the credits, you're right, it's filled with people, stacked with people, union wage people. And they're all there waiting as they're making up as they go along off the stolen script, and no one's supposed to see it. First of all,
Yeah,
you're hide the script on set. You have a 20-foot rule that no one's supposed to see it. And then the A-list actors even said they weren't allowed to have any inputs, which is part of their creative process. Having input, suggestions, feedback, developing the character with them. Again, that's why Hugo is like, when he came up with that Smith rendition, they had said, we understand now, they had said, just keep it, keep it. His first take of being that robotic sound. And it's like, which he read from the script, robot-like agents, and he wasn't allowed to develop it. He wasn't allowed to develop it. He was like, keep that. Because they were in the process of stealing it. It took their mind off of the task. And they were actually so distracted on set, the Wachowskis, that you see clips from the movie filming. And it's amazing. The guy Fishburne gets hurt during one of the fight scenes when he's in the suspended sling thing, and he hurts a rib or something. And they call the director, and Larry comes up. What a goon. He comes running up going, what? What? He wasn't even paying attention to the shot. And they told me from like an insider from the story department said that, he hated the movie. He hated the screenplay. Didn't want to, he's just a ladder for his, the ladder for him to be successful. And so he didn't pay attention on set. Didn't even care. All he did was, like you said, all he did was like when he talked to Will Smith, he's like, "We have real cool cameras, 360 around you shooting, and it'll be stop action. It's gonna be so cool." It's like, what about the script? Never shows him a script. So right now, and of course, there's a whole thing about Will Smith where he's supposed to cover that now. He's supposed to cover that. He's supposed to say, they're telling him he has to say, "I really wish I'd done it now." It's like, no, he doesn't. Not really. Because like he knew the guys were goons. It's common knowledge that Larry and Andy were ripping it off. They all knew it. And that's part of that. If you look at them and watch them on screen, or even currently in interviews, watch the eyes and what's going on inside them. And here's what's going on too. They are aware that everyone around them knows the work's stolen, not theirs. It is driving them crazy. When Annie's asked, "You must be happy now." "No, not really." "Yeah." "Why is he showing up to be part of the Matrix 4?" Because he knows everybody out there knows on set and in the studios that he didn't do it, that he didn't create it. That's why he doesn't want to show up. See? And that's what it's all going to make sense later. And God bless Roseanne for what she's doing for us all too. It's like it's all going to be coming together. Finally, people have the ability or license to believe and accept the evidence, which is so blatant, where others don't have evidence. We've got piling over evidence, where the other side even says there's too much evidence. It's like, what? But that's what's going on is that, you see what's really going on with Andy and Larry. They're like, why does Andy not want to be on the set or a part of 4? Because everybody around him knows he didn't do it. Imagine how uncomfortable you feel when everybody looking at you, even the coffee girl, knows you didn't create this. You're just a ripoff artist, and you've been arrogant. They don't even like them. That's why he doesn't want to show up, because they know he didn't do it. And he's not liked. It's so funny. It's all caving in on them. And Joel Silver too. He knows. He knows that he's not so popular now, saying that, this is franchise. It's like he's not so popular because it's all ripped off work. And people are starting to say, let's see the original. Let's see
they're giving name credit to their buddies.
It's all falling apart. And that's why, again, Roseanne was saying too, this will make it. And she's right. I believe she's right.
Yeah, I would like to mention something.
I want to say I didn't expect the response I got that I'm getting, and that's why that guy threw in with that nonsense, because it's just almost overwhelming. The response is overwhelming. I did not expect that. And I told Aiden, same thing. We didn't count on this. We didn't expect that. We're so
Yeah.
used to it. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was going to mention that those that might be apprehensive about watching Roseanne Barr's channel, just give it a shot. Tom will be on a future episode, and I believe it's going to be next week. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm actually very looking
I met her
forward
in
to it.
person. Rose, yeah, thanks. When I met her in person, I saw who she really was. I got to sit down with her and even the pre-show, all that stuff, spend time, have dinner with them. And it's like real deal, real deal. I
That's
mean,
good to hear.
like, yeah, I saw myself in a sense because it's like, you're doing everything you can to make that difference and you really do care and people pick it, pick it, pick it, pick it. And there's it's like this whole thing. Like I wrote somebody a response today and I will just read this one response because it's like this capsulizes, I think, the feeling of it. What happens. Let me just scroll down. There's so many things coming through. I said, the opposition was well organized and positioned to deceptively misdirect and shout it all down. And that's exactly what you go through. So when you're dealing with these people, like the one that surfaced, they're not going to hear you. Their job is to shout you down. And they'll actually come up sometimes. These other, like even their attorneys will come up and say, I'm just doing my job. You're actually really a cool person. They'll actually say that on the break. It's like, offense your work kind of thing. And it's like, so they feel they're just doing their job. But it it's like their job is to shout you down. So they're not going to hear you in official capacity when you're in the public. They're not going to acknowledge that that's a good point or the inserts in the matrix. There's no getting around it. The mathematical probabilities are basically off the charts that this is no way an accident. And you got the Wachowskis even admitting it's their own people that put it there, not denying it. So that's a win right there in a fair venue. That's a win. So that's what you're dealing with is you're waiting for the public to not go, oh, this is overwhelming when they finally, first they go, no, this is fraud. Then they go, well, it's overwhelming. Then they go, there's too much evidence. It's like when they get permission through somebody who's really established, like Roseanne, to go, wait, let me take a look. This is real. This is huge. That's what Warner Brothers and Disney and the cabal and the agencies are afraid of. That's what Stewart's afraid of. That's what the minions like my sister are afraid of. They're afraid of the people going, whoa, this is incredible. My
I want
mind.
to.
Yeah.
I have a great analogy for this. The Hollywood narrative is like a rug that has been over a very old wood floor for many, many years.
Yeah.
And you just start seeing the fabrics peeling from the rug, and you see that beautiful floor underneath. And some people are like, "Oh, no, it's too much work. There's all that rug. Just patch up the little spot in the rug, and we'll just keep the rug as is. It's all dirty and everything. You can't clean it as much. It's old, it's falling apart. But no, just patch it. They want to patch it. They don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Also, on the other hand, we're like, whoa, look at that hardwood floor. And we just ripped that whole rug off of the floor. And
Right.
here there's this older, but much more prestigious and culturally rich for humanity. The real story, what's happening here? Everybody's being backstabbed in Hollywood.
And don't, yeah.
It's
And
it's
wouldn't people want to know that this is what they're facing now? Those that are trying to shut it down, like the agencies and Warner Brothers and rest, when all their people know that the truth is they ripped it off, and they're being told don't talk about it. Well, that's not going to last in the end. People are waiting to come forward, and they are. I was thinking about this morning, and it's like compulsory. It's just compelling to. How would you like to be the one that comes forward and says, yeah, this was real, and lead the pack and have that attention, if that's what the insiders were wanting, for being the person that actually did the right thing? That was offered to Keanu Reeves. He considered it, but they actually said he actually screamed when he heard the Immortals and Tom Althouse. He screamed like he lost it because it's like the image I got was that he thought it was catching up with him, and it's not going away. See, they're counting on. They were promised it would all go away. And that's one of the things they promised. So it's amazing. Like
None
Um,
of them have said to stop talking about any of this. Nobody from Warner Brothers,
now,
Keanu Reeves,
yeah,
Wachowskis.
well,
Nobody's come to me. Nobody's approached Tom.
think
No,
of those break
they just
times.
fly over with their chemicals. That's
Think of the
about all they
break times where they come up to me during the breaks, these very attorneys, and say, "You're actually really a cool guy. Yeah, we know you wrote it." And there's a moment in the deposition, like I had nothing because they planted their own attorney, so I had no discovery whatsoever. But 7.5 hours of me, over the 7 hour mark, and in the transcript, you can read it and you can hear it on the tape too. That Rankin made illegally, the attorney that was planted unlicensed. You hear the attorney for Warner Brothers, his classmate, going, "Given the fact that you wrote The Matrix, strike that." It's like she actually said it. It's like, because she's saying it off camera, she's saying it off script. And, like they're saying, yeah, yeah, we know you. Yeah. So they get on there and do the questioning thing with me. And they actually said it. It's there. It's there all for all time. Given the fact that you wrote The Matrix, strike that. It's like she's striking her own comment. So it's like, yeah, it's just it was a beautiful moment. So, and then off when we're done, she's saying, well, it's a moot point to ask for any discovery, any evidence, because we don't have any. So you're going to do fraud in the court, and which means that case, we actually won that case. And they kept us, by the planted attorney, working together with their attorney classmates from University of Berkeley, kept us from filing that claim. So it's like we had
they
won.
basically locked in all their players in the positions they needed to basically freeze and lock out your whole case until it expired. That's
That
basically what they did to you.
And that includes the only testimony that was ever given because they were so afraid about the inserts. How to get around the inserts in the Matrix, right? With the author's high school, the author's fiance's birthday as Neo's, the dad's name, the author's name as the Neo character, Thomas A. So how do you get around all that? When they did it so blundering, so badly. And they had them do a sworn testimony where they said, we only entered Thomas A. We didn't enter the rest. The rest was entered by Owen Patterson and Michelle McGahee, the art director and the production manager. You just admitted that it was entered. You just admitted that it's the author. You didn't negate it. You didn't say it wasn't there. You're saying, oh, we didn't do it. They did it. They're so stupid. And that's the thing they were most concerned about. So it's amazing what Judge Doyle did, which is the Superior Court idiot judge who actually is in charge of child trafficking, covering up child trafficking. And he was reassigned to me to cover for Rankin and the Warner Brothers team. And what he did was he said, I'm going to do a summary judgment before I even appear in court. We're going to do a summary judgment to cover this up. And so I'm handed this paper saying, no, we're going to throw it out. And then he says, we're not going to allow any of your exhibits. All 30 exhibits are not going to be entered. Only one, the entries into the Matrix, that biographical thing. He said, since this is on its own, it no longer it doesn't count because there's no supporting material of any matchups. Because he blocked all the matchups. So he blocks all the evidence, the entries, the submissions of the matchups, and only allows the one of 31 to go in, which is the entry with the biographical information. This is so key and so important because that's their argument then to say, well, if there's no matchups, this doesn't mean anything anymore. That's what they want to tie up, that what Wachowski's took in, to clean it up, to have audiences not look at it. But they're blocking all the proof that shows that, yes, this means a lot. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's so beautiful in our time right now is that we're going to examine those matchups. We're going to examine the personal information going in, and people will have the license to now receive it. And they're going to see that this is absolutely impossible to deny, that when you put in the author's high school birthday and all that stuff, and the first graphic you shot saying that every cell that goes into it is between Larry and Andy only, no one else has inputted it, then you blame your art director and Owen Patterson, the production manager, for putting it there when they're the high school and listed as Neo's mom, Michelle McGahee, the art director, that they're in that graphic with them, with the material. You can't get around it. There's no way to get around it Warner Brothers attorneys know there's no way to get around it. So they've been whining about possible jail time. And they actually appealed to me to have a heart for them, to understand they're just doing their job. They actually did that. They actually did that. They know that people are going to catch on and when it's going to be a firestorm when they do. And God bless Roseanne for helping to bring it forward. Yeah, we're making it come forward. Now people can believe it and understand it. There's no way to get around the mess Larry and Eddie made. And turning him into transgender is not going to, you could get them to, put a leash on them, but they already took a dump on the sidewalk there, and it's steaming and it's glaring. There's no getting around it. The mess is right there to see. You're not going to clean it up.
Yeah, and people are also starting to, I mean, with the more exposure that you do with going on all of these shows, you're getting the word out there to new viewers on the daily too, which is really incredible, Tom. Like
And
you're
the more,
constantly getting people tuned into what's actually happening in the
yeah, just
world.
a news stream, they were
Finding
amazing
that,
too. Amazing bunch of guys too, And it's like all the work you've done. And it's like what I'm seeing is I'm seeing less reactions from the naysayers, like the shills. I'm seeing individuals coming up now, like kamikazes, with just the most absurd content you could possibly put, right? And so it's almost like that last desperate attempt when the Marines were going for Okinawa, and it's like they sent kamikazes out, it's not going to stop it, you know, and but that's it. Individuals doing absolute absurd moves where they're going to look like doofuses trying to shout down the proof when it's already successful. We're already celebrating, you know? It's like you missed the boat, guys. But that's what happens. It becomes more sporadic, more idiots individually coming forward. So it's like, instead of a mass wave, which was before, when it was popular to hit. So right now it's not popular to hit.
nope. Well,
So
look at the theaters, for instance. The studios put out a couple films that people were wanting, and it's broken over $1 billion in box office for I think both of them. There was that Deadpool Wolverine movie,
mhm.
which that was with a different studio at one point. That wasn't even with Disney.
Yeah, and I
So
heard Deadpool was pretty good. So it's like
that's
the
what I've heard too.
the rip-off content people are there, like we said from the beginning of this conversation, they're not going to create great work. Now, of course, that's subjective to many, but the thing is that if you're focused on the wrong things, your work's going to suffer. And
Now
I don't think
I'll
anybody would
mention
argue
this
that.
about Deadpool.
I don't think
Go
anybody
ahead.
would argue that the Matrix is disconnected, that it doesn't tie together. If you're lifting all the images out that you think are cool, the Wachowski solution they gave the suits, then it's not going to tie together. And in fact, that's what Joel Silver says at the end, the shooting on the set. We hope it ties together when we watch the rushes. It's like, so the Wachowskis just, it's not going to work if you rip a story apart. You can't take Shakespeare and rip it apart and hope it ties together. It will not tie together in the end.
Well,
You rip the story spine apart.
it
So
kind of explains to me why they're like I think back on this now with Keanu Reeves's like representation of Neo in the Matrix franchise. That character is supposed to be the central character that most people watching will rally around. But like, where was the personal connection with Neo? It was gone
that's the funny thing is you just said,
because the daughter was missing.
right, they took
Like
out
that whole thing would have given him more humanity, like a drive, a purpose through the entire. Like how many? I honestly think they could have made 10, 20 films by now
but the funny thing is
if it
they
was legit. If it like even the Immortals, you wanted it to be one and done. Like that could have been. It could have been the best freaking movie ever. Could have made all broken all these records for all we know.
they loved it. Bonaventura loved it. The pitch session loved it and adored it. And what's funny is they said to me, they put me in my own story. I wrote Neo fleshed out on me. And so what they did was by making Neo this hero and this kind of thing, and you suffer with Neo, it's like, well, if you're putting my own story, then people are going to suffer with me in the end. They're gonna see they're rigging it that we succeed and people discover who we really are, that this really is the Neo story. And they're setting themselves up to fail as the villains. So it's like it really is. It's a dumb move by their part. I mean, they can say they made a fortune off it. They did. And they got away for an extended period of time. They did. And I can see the Wachowskis saying that in the end, that we had a great life for so many months, or so many years, and got away with it. And that's their bragging moment that they can use. And yeah, but at what cost? And in the end, your reputation, your legacy is ruined. So I don't know if having a momentary, a period of time where you're able to rip off the public and destroy the work and profit off it, if that means something to you, well, that just shows that that's your character, and they'll be remembered for all time is that's your low character. And like these guys that are now trying to attack sporadically, like kamikazes. So it's like, whatever. But I'm enjoying celebrating with the many, many people coming forward. It's like you got like hundreds and hundreds of people well wishing and celebrating. It's so exciting. And it's like that's why this one guy coming in, just opposed to that, makes even more celebration, because it's like, look at the idiot coming in that's whining like a man baby on your site, and everyone's celebrating. It just reminds you of how big this really is, that an idiot would do that, that is so obsessed and jealous that this is bigger. It's bigger than we imagined. And they help amplify it. Sometimes the negative helps amplify the positive. So in that case, I'm
Yeah.
looking at all the people celebrating. And in that sense, Patrick White did a service, by being an idiot and wearing his diapers on screen. So whatever. Or his tinfoil hat, at least, with his buddies. So wouldn't want to be in his crowd. But I'm excited about the hundreds and hundreds that are coming forward celebrating together. This brings humanity together. And it also gets rid of the dross. The Patrick Whites are pushed away, that are low levels in society, that don't belong winning in society. They belong in the sewer. So it's like, where they want to manifest themselves. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about people
I
coming
mean,
up.
it
I'm excited. And
it
that's how
is the toxic energy is just not needed here.
they
It's
belong in their own
something.
little island of hate. And it's like that's why it's like I said, separating the dross of the wheat from the chaff. It's like the best are rising, the Patrick Whites are falling.
I have a question too for the audience and you, Tom. Like, I don't. I guess it's going to be rhetorical because I don't have children currently. So, if you're disciplining a child, like if they do something wrong, like, are you going to beat the shit out of them the first time and have them so confused they don't even know where they're at? Of course, you're not going to do that. Like, why? Like, there's if you think somebody is like not I don't know what this guy was doing that they came at you the way they
He's an
did,
idiot.
but like
I don't even want to talk about him anymore.
there's like yeah there's just a certain we won't talk about it, but like there's a certain like there's a certain gentleness everyone has to have with
Guy's an
things.
idiot. He wants success. I don't even want to talk about him. He's an idiot. But I'm
Yeah,
excited about all the people that are coming on board that are absolutely, phenomenal people. See, in comparison, you see these people that are just gems. And you also get to know these people even better. And that's what I would want to focus on. It's like these people
yeah,
are, the idiots can have their own time. But it's like I'm excited about all these amazing people that are surfacing, and many I haven't seen in a long, long time. And that's something I didn't count on. It's like suddenly all these people you're reconnecting with. And that's one of the reasons I wrote the piece, to bring great people together, a remnant, people with great minds, creative minds and talents and hearts and compassion. And that's what I'm going to, focus on here. It's just like, wow, that's happening right now. And there's more to come. And yeah, it's like it's sort of a slice of heaven to experience that's, just a regathering of the best. And that's what I told Rosanne and others too. I said, I'm focusing on the best. And it's like, sure, the kamikazes are going to try to hit, but, it's just like crush and burn into the sea gone. So we continue to celebrate, and we're rolling
yeah.
it,
I
rolling it.
guess I would also like to elaborate here, that I don't want anybody to mistake my gentleness for weakness, because even though we live in a world where we need to project strength, that's where all this toxicity starts to bubble up from, is like what, and the ego comes up with this too. People want to be right all the time, and we need to, like I need to keep myself in check often. Like if I'm wrong, I need to be able to admit that I'm wrong. And
Mhm.
when I do that, it actually alleviates a lot of situations, especially when I know I'm in the wrong. If I'm in the wrong and I'm trying to say I'm right, that's just gonna go down a bad road for me and everyone else. The people that I'm trying to convince that I'm, if I'm lying to them, they're not gonna want to talk to me anymore. Like it's just simple things like that.
Well, that's one of the things at the top here. I'm working with these amazing people, like all of us working with these amazing people, and they're all coming forward now too for us all, is that we don't do the strike one, strike two, strike three thing. We do it like if you don't have professional courtesy and you don't know how to handle yourself at a high level, then strike one, you're out. We don't have time. And it's
Yes.
like, that's cool. That's so cool because work gets done so well. Because we're just like, if you do like this guy, you're
It's
out.
also it's a repeatable offense too. Like they
We're not gonna stick around to see it.
we're not the first people that they've done this to,
Well, we
is
we
what
will
I'm
not
saying.
stick around to see it repeated. It's just like so you have this wonderful teaming of people that get work done, and there's this expected professional courtesy, and that is exhibited, and it's wonderful. It's like a well-oiled machine. It's just beautiful to see what happens and what product comes out of that. So I'm excited, like when I sat down with Roseanne, it was like, here's somebody who's classy, savvy, on it. And there's an understanding. It's unspoken even. There's an understanding that you conduct yourself in a certain way for the best way possible to get the best work done. And I
Yes.
love that environment. I love those people. And
And
so
I
it's
think
like,
that goes along with the surrendering of the ego,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
then that helps us transcend spiritually and get greater things
If you're going to
accomplished.
prepare yourself for that circle, then you do exactly that. You surrender, get rid of that ego. Because what you need to do is just be like we talked about, like attending on the accident scene with a child, and you're the first responder. You're going to focus in. That's why I can't even remember the questions that Roseanne asked me during that particular interview because I was trying to focus in to every question.
Yeah, you were locked in. You were in the zone, Tom. That's what that's called. Yeah, you were in the zone.
So that, yeah, and so my mind's not going to retain what the questions were. I'm on to the next one, on to the next one, and 100% attention, focused in to like I'm saving a child. So, and that's what's so wild about that kind of thing is a lot of people don't retain, like in your emergency response situation, you don't retain all the events. You have that what ifs after a situation where, as a first responder, we actually will cry after the event is well over because
Yeah.
then feelings come in.
Yeah,
After,
because we operate real like really well under stress. Then like we deal with like the emotional tail end of it after the fact. I've noticed that with myself too.
it happens afterwards. It happens after.
Like okay, I'm getting excited about this talk, but just this phenomenon is what I'm excited about, I guess. Like I was able to deal with loss of a friend,
Mhm.
just natural causes. He was a little older, but I didn't really grieve until like 2 3 weeks later,
Sure.
where I was just like sitting where I would normally be like, hey, I wonder what so and so is doing. I was like, oh, I can't reach out like that anymore because they're gone. And then that's when that hit me. So it's like similar. I guess that's where I see a similarity in,
Yeah.
where
I
it's
mean,
like
my
I'm
son,
able to function in the moment of things, but then like later on, it's just like, oh,
yeah, I've not been able to grieve over my sons yet because they use that as a tactic. They come at me all the time and Judge and Sophia Stewart and the rest do that. They'll always attack the sons to get a reaction. They know that that's what a grieving father or a father is trying to grieve is going to go through. They're going to attack, mock, all kinds of things. Sister does it too. But the thing is that when this is completed and successful, I'll be able to grieve finally, and that's going to take some time. It's going to be a period. But in the meantime, I'm lifting the image of them with me, and that keeps me going. So that's how I deal with that need to grieve is I picture them with me, and then I'm doing this for their memory. And so that's how I'm getting through all this. I hope that helps others going through situations like this. But, if it helps a little bit of advice or thoughts. But as far as grieving for them, there's no chance yet. I'm in the middle of a war. And I would love to be able to grieve for them. So when this is all successful and the celebrations are going on and we've made it, like Roseanne's pushing for us to do, and it's so sweet what she's doing, so sweet. And she's all these people know now at the highest level. Then finally I'll be able to grieve. And I may have to disappear from public for a while. It's going to be hard.
You
So
know, I
yeah,
think I think this is an appropriate quote, being given the history of this too. It's a quote from Predator. Jesse Ventura was a former Marine, I believe, or Navy SEAL. I think he was a Navy SEAL.
Hmm.
But he was acting in Predator. There were some ad-lib lines that he stuck in there, and one of them was, "I ain't got time to bleed." Meaning he's in the middle of this war. He ain't got time to bleed. He has a war to fight.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's basically yeah. It's
that's
well.
what I feel where it's at right
Yep.
now. Like we know the stuff we're going through is tough and traumatized, and it's stuff that like we're all dealing with individually too, and we're not comparing uh anything here with that, like severity and whatnot.
Well, how do I deal with the triggering? Like when Sophia Stewart's coming mocking me for the death of my son, saying it's my fault, cult and all this stuff. She throws it all the time when she contacts me. It's main go-to thing she does is go after my the memory of my sons, and so that's why picturing them with me and lifting their memory is the shield from what she's doing, you know. And the
Mm-hmm.
tactic doesn't work for her. She must have been like, "Why is this working? Why is this working?" There are times I will yell back, because that's the worst thing you can possibly say to a father who's lost two sons. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. That's what they're doing right now is they're trying to appear and do that because they know that's the best chance to get a trigger and that's the goal. And that's their job, you know.
And I really think they're under the impression they have all of this money, that if they spend enough of it, they can get the results they want.
They've been
And
trying.
when that doesn't happen with them, they're like, "But I have all the money needed to get done what I need. Why
Go,
doesn't this guy just like agree?" So like that's where it comes down to the individual choices on things.
go back to the
Your
Wachowskis.
like your ability to say no, I don't want you to use my work, or some line of that, something to that effect. That power within you is that fine line between them just going on what they did with that and just ripping everything off, or actually paying you and like respecting you for your creativity and your work. I don't know
Well,
why I got on to talking about this stuff. I feel
sorry.
like I'm jumping all over, but yeah.
Anyway, yeah, well, we're at time anyway. So, but that could
Yeah,
wrap.
this has been a solid hour of a show actually. And but yeah, yeah, just
We're in a time of celebration, and those that were in charge of derailing that are going to have their last throwdowns. And it's like, but the celebration's only going to continue and get better. And I'm excited about Thursday. I'm excited about everything going forward. And it's nice to feel this. And for my sons, their memory that this is happening finally. And with the kamikazes coming, it's like, it just shows how big this is. It only amplifies how big the story is. They wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't such a big story. So yeah. Anyway, thanks, Stephen.
thank you, Tom. I do want to remind the audience that compassion does go a long way. Do not let your emotions cloud your judgment if you have important decisions to make. And like you're hungry. This is something my past uncle once told me. If you're hungry or angry or sleepy, don't make important decisions. Just wait until you get one of those things accomplished, or all of them. But when you're in a good solid state, just very very level with yourself and everything, then you can make those big decisions on things.
I'll tell people too that the one of the most important things to keep in mind and realize when they're coming at you is when you have the truth and you're bringing it forward, is they're going to try a tactic where they'll accuse you publicly of being erratic or being angry or being emotional when you're not. And it's a tactic they throw all the time. It's a very cheap shot. They'll do this like you're perfectly calm, but they'll accuse you out loud of being, you're agitated, you're angry. It's like it, and you're not feeling anything at all, but it's a tactic to get people to believe you are, that you're a danger to society. And it's just like, I see this tactic done all the time. They'll do it in their write-ups where they'll say he was angry, he was agitated, or she was angry, she was agitated, and you weren't. And even though you have a taping of the session, like the time where they're doing this, they just do it. They just do it. They'll even throw in things, I'm afraid of you. It's like, wow. So they'll cause a narrative to get what they want and to be able to put you away. I'm blown away by the audacity of this tactic, which is done over and over to nausea. So calm as a cucumber, doesn't matter. They'll go after any man or woman that way. So just be prepared if you're going through this kind of stuff, that is a tactic they'll throw. They'll do this all the time. Like one of the things they'll do is they'll have a guy in a truck pull up in front of your own home and start yelling throughout the neighborhood. They'll just yell, "Who are you?" And it's like, that's a very interesting tactic because they're alerting people's senses of fight and flight and all around you, all your neighbors, and they're wondering, what have you done to evoke this response? When that's the opening statement, them screaming, "Who are you?" You haven't done anything. They're just pulling up and shouting it. They're initiating a response from neighbors to think that you've done something wrong, and it's tactically applied. I think it's fascinating that is what's done, and it's also supposed to be an excuse to put you away. So I'm curious, if others are going out there, my heart goes out to you because it's a very difficult thing to deal with when it's applied. Because you're just left going, what? Well, I'm just standing in my own yard. What's going on? Anyway, Stephen, thanks for this. I just wanted to throw that out. This is one of the tactics. It's wild. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Where could people find you again if they want to contact you? Twitter, Facebook.
Can't
Um,
get on Twitter because Elon's got me locked out of my own account.
so
My
you're out
account
of Twitter, but
there,
you're
but
on Facebook right now. Like
yeah,
you're able to be contacted there.
yeah. There's some
Awesome.
funny things happen on Facebook though too, where um, people will try to call in and it won't allow me to accept the call, or I'll push call and it won't allow me to make it through, or like I'll try to make a comment to somebody and it won't allow it to go, it just spins, or somebody tries to contact me, or their account's deleted as if I struck them as a friend and I didn't strike them as a friend. That's happening right now. So there's a lot with Facebook where it's a controlled situation but it's a door I can peep through to talk to people. So yeah. Anyway, okay.
Awesome. Yeah, and I haven't worked out the kinks yet with all of the call-in line thing, but it's still on my mind. I do want to do that with
All right.
these interviews. So
Month then. That sounds good.
yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up here for today. And thank you, Tom, again for being here. You are always welcome here.
Thank you.
And I do enjoy every one of these conversations we have because I never want them to end. I can talk here for hours with you, Tom, and
Honor.
it's always refreshing, and I am always looking forward to speaking with you.
It'll be primary sources in the future because I know I keep being told by high level people that in the future people will be looking back and researching all this when they know exactly how big this was and what the story was all about and it was true. And they'll be studying how it was blocked for such a long time and how it finally broke through. And you're certainly a big part of that breakthrough. So thanks, David.
That's my pleasure, Tom.
All right.
All right, yeah. Until the next one, class dismissed, and I'll see you all on the other side.